All right, so for this video, I'm gonna do more lucid dream tips, and this is gonna be basically like an update because I've finally, after a long time, I've finally acquired some full length lucid dreams under my belt, being able to stabilize the dream, being able to get lucid, right? So these are some of like the most important tips. I have like 4 tips written down. There might be more, but yeah, these are like the most important sort of tips or tricks that I've come up with so far, as far as my technique goes. So to start off, I'm going to show you like what my technique is. Um, so I got this stress ball at like an arcade, okay, and like literally like the first video on my channel describes like the Heiled technique, which is haptic induced lucid dreaming, which is basically you're focusing on the sense of touch and holding an object as you fall asleep, right? And so it's a maintained awareness technique where you're siphoning awareness to something as you fall asleep. And I hold this in my left hand as I fall asleep, and like I do like I do this. I just like lay back and I focus on the stress ball as I fall asleep. Okay, so that's my technique. So that's the context, right? Is I do a maintained awareness technique. I don't do like mild or like memory for the technique. I do like a maintained awareness of like an object that I hold in my hands. So that's the technique. But first of all, the first thing or the first tip is that sleep happens to you. Stop trying to induce sleep. Okay, and this is like a huge mistake where whenever you begin to lucid dream or whenever you're trying to lucid dream, one of the temptations that you will come across is trying to induce or is trying to make yourself fall asleep or trying to do things to make yourself fall asleep faster, right? And like the reason why I say sleep happens to you is because of the fact that it's a neurophysiological process. In other words, it's automatic. It happens to you. It's not something that is really under your control. Like when you fall asleep, that's up to your circadian rhythm, and this is like a huge theme. I think for this video is to stop trying to control things that you can't control because your circadian rhythm, whether or not you fall asleep, when you fall asleep, how long you fall asleep before you feel fully rested, right? All of that is controlled by your body. Okay, and even though I have a saying for this, which is that it's not your mind that falls asleep, it's your body that falls asleep, which that's not technically correct, but it implies that you're not the one that falls asleep, it's your body and your brain that falls asleep for you. So that's the first thing to realize is to not try to induce sleep. Like your job as a lucid dreamer is to not make yourself fall asleep, because like that's your body's job to fall asleep for you. Okay, so let your body cook, let your body do what it needs to do, right? And don't try to induce sleep. Let sleep happen automatically. Sleep will happen on its own if you wait long enough. If you do your technique and you wait long enough, sleep happens for you. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is that whenever you're doing a maintained awareness technique, right? One of the things that is sort of a bad thing is having like sort of like an OCD sort of mentality of trying to hyper focus on your anchor, but it's also like it's also another thing which is that being aware of something and thinking really hard about the concept of something are two different things. Okay, but that's like the third tip I'm talking about. But for the second tip, right, is that the way maintained awareness techniques work is that you don't have to think about the concept of lucid dreaming in order to get lucid. Getting lucid is something that it relies on just the awareness. Okay, it relies on the raw resource of awareness, and this has happened to me where it's like I'll do my technique, I won't even think about lucid dreaming, I'll think about random BS, but I'll spontaneously become lucid. I'll spontaneously become lucid because I was just aware, right? And this is like another weird thing, which is that it's not necessarily you that becomes lucid. It's your awareness sort of gets lucid for you, which is a weird thing to say. It's a weird thing to say, but if you maintain enough awareness into all the way until you fall asleep, then your awareness works for you. Your awareness works for you automatically, and you don't need to manually figure out whether or not you're in a dream. A lot of the times, you'll just know if you do the technique properly. If you do like the anchor technique properly, and your anchor can be something you hold in your hands. It can be like the sound of your fan in your room, right? But but yeah, so that's the second tip, is that your awareness works for you. If you maintain your awareness properly, then your awareness will make you lucid for you, right? And another saying to to go along with this is don't do the thing that does the thing, right? Which is that you don't try to get lucid, like obsessively, compulsively thinking about it and keeping yourself awake with your inner monologue, right? Don't do that. What you want to do is you want to do the thing that does the thing, right? Which is that you're retaining some awareness of this. And it doesn't matter that, like, what does a stress ball have to do with lucid dreaming, right? It doesn't matter how unrelated it is, because awareness is awareness. There's a carryover value to awareness. And so that's the second tip, is let your awareness work for you. If you retain awareness, doesn't matter if you black out and you enter a random dream scenario. If you have enough awareness, your awareness will get you lucid for you. Which it sounds like a weird thing to say. Like, what do you mean I'm not the one that gets lucid? No, your awareness gets you lucid for you. Your awareness works for you. So if you're trying to do a maintained awareness technique, let your awareness do the work for you. Don't try to manually OCD, try with your inner monologue, try to figure out whether or not you're in a lucid dream. Am I lucid? Am I like? Don't do that. Let your awareness work for you automatically, right? It's a lot more automatic than you think it is, and you're aware. Like if you maintain awareness, there's a part of your brain that it just knows that you're in a dream, right? So let your awareness work for you. I know I keep saying it, it sounds like a broken record, but this is something that was a revelation to me, right? It is you need to let the awareness do the thing for you. Your awareness gets lucid, not you necessarily, not the thinker of your thoughts, not the inner monologue. Your awareness gets you lucid for you, right? So that's the second tip. Third tip is that being aware of something and thinking really hard about the concept of something are two different things, right? And this is linked with the second tip I talked about, because I would do this thing for a long time, where I would force myself to only think about my anchor, or to only think about the concept of lucid dreaming, and I was trying to control what I was thinking about. But that's the thing, is that being aware of something, like being aware of something being the color red, is different than the concept of the color red in your mind, like the amount of nanometers of wavelength, and like the concept of the color red, like the definition, the dictionary definition. Like, those are two different things. The concept of something in your head, thinking really hard about something, is different than being aware of something, right? You can be aware of something without thinking about that thing, right? And so that's the third tip to realize, is that, like, how do you know you're focusing on your anchor properly? Is that you're aware of it, but you're not thinking about the concept. You need to remove, you need to deconceptualize, you need to remove the concept from your focus on whatever your anchor is. Okay, so if I lay down and I'm focusing on my anchor as I'm falling asleep, then I need to be aware of my anchor without without thinking too hard about the concept of it. Because, oh my gosh, wow, that was a big stutter. But the concept of something is different than the awareness of something. So you have to make that distinction, and you have to be aware of something. You need to focus on something without thinking about the concept of that thing. Right? That's what it is you're focusing on something without thinking about the concept of the thing. Right? So that's the third tip. But the fourth tip, this is more like unrelated on how to get lucid, but this is more like dream stability, which is, this is how I was able to stabilize my recent stable lucid dreams, is I would move my arms like this. Moving your limbs, moving your dream body is a very reliable way to stay stable. And because what I was doing before is I was staring at the dream with my eyes. I was trying to stare at the imagery, right? But the thing is that the imagery fades away, and the imagery is sort of unreliable, right? But the thing is that your dream body is the best number one way to ground yourself in the dream world. If you move your hands like this, or if you move your arms like this is what I prefer, to move my arms like this, because what you're doing is you're grounding yourself using basically like the biggest sense. I'm not saying the most vivid sense, because your eyesight is obviously the most vivid, but I'm saying like the biggest sense that covers the entire body, right, is the sense of touch. The sense of touch covers most of like a four of your five senses are like up here, right? Sight, smell, sight, smell, taste, hearing, right? It's all up here, but touch exists throughout the entire body. So if you can activate the motor cortex, or if you can activate the sense of touch, right? If you can move your dream body in the dream, you will ground yourself. Even, and I've had moments in the dream state where because I'm doing this, or sometimes I'll like jog while I'm in the dream. Because I'm doing that, what happens is even if the dream imagery fades away, I'm still in the dream. Even though everything's super dark and super murky, I transfer to another dream because I'm able to stay in the dream because of the movement of my dream body, and I'm able to be comfortable, going into darker environments where it's like, oh, okay, there's not a lot of visual information, but you're keeping the bodily motor cortex haptic feedback and like the sense of touch. You're keeping that information online, and so that's the best way to ground yourself and how to stabilize your dream. That's the best way that I've found in my recent stable lucid dreams. To stay in the dream longer is to move your limbs, move parts of your body, activate the motor cortex, activate the sense of touch. Because it doesn't matter if the dream sort of fades to black temporarily, because if you have a dream body, you're in the dream, right? But yeah, that's the video.